Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the KB article. I'm here with AJ. AJ, pronounce your last name for me, man. I
Cappuccitti.
Cappuccitti. And AJ is what I thought was a general contractor in the renovation business, but he's spread into other businesses. And, like we do here, we love to get on entrepreneurs and small business owners to talk about the wins, losses, challenges, what they're doing now, how, some of the lessons they learned. So, and impact the listeners' growth in their own business or financial well being. So, that welcome, AJ.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, you bet. So
I'm
we were
excited
talking a
here.
little bit. Yeah, we were talking a little bit before we jumped on here, kind of a little bit about what you do. And I thought you were just in the contracting and renovation business, but it sounds like you've got a whole nother level to you, or a couple levels. It sounds like. Tell us a little bit about you, man.
All right. So, truthfully, I thought the same thing. I thought I was just into contracting and so forth, but we got our renovations business, which we do general contracting, 95% subbed out. So, we deal with a lot of, subcontractor contracts and, outsourcing and so forth. We also have a pet product that we're working on manufacturing, just working on getting some molds done overseas. And then hopefully it comes over here to Canada because I'm up in Toronto here, and then we're gonna be manufacturing in Canada just so we can say made in Canada. And then we recently are dabbling in the final, I guess, stages of launching our business solutions company. Well, it's live online now. It just kind of we're keeping it, we're kind of talking about it, but not, no like ad spends going towards it yet, which helps. We really only target small to medium businesses, mostly owner operators, where they don't have the support staff behind them. They don't have the SOPs in place. They don't measure KPIs. It's not like a dive in 5-year plan kind of business solutions company. Our goal and where I found the impact in it is because I've become friends with my subcontractors. So from there, what I realize is like I'm seeing these guys stressed out, answering the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, ripping out their hair, running around like a chicken with their head cut off. And I'm like, you can
Yeah,
simplify that. You can automate that. You can, but they're at that stage where like, and I was there for the longest time where you're scared to hire someone because you have money coming in, life's good, you're living to that lifestyle.
right.
It's like, I don't want to spend money, but you don't realize spending money is buying back your time. They're not at that breaking point realizing it yet. Like me myself, I didn't know it for the first 2 years. Where when you're doing full house guts and additions, you're competing with a different type of contract. You're not, and this is gonna jump back and forth, but this is a linear kind of experience I had with it. Is you're not dealing with the typical handyman or the one man kind of show. You're dealing with people with an office or a crew on the road, stuff like that. I wasn't just quite there yet. So I actually I opened two email accounts, one for admin and one for project manager at accustom.ca. And people, I'd be at site meets and they're like, hey, we got to deal with this, we got to deal with that. Yeah, no problem. I'll call my office, I'll get them to send you an email out. And I'd run home and log into my admin email and like, have,
Yeah,
administrative coordinator at the bottom. And I would play two roles as two different people in my company just so I was projected as a bigger company.
yeah,
And I remember how stressful that was, right? Checking what account you're in. Am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? Well, this person told me that, but it came from it was too much. So I just said, you know what? I'm just going to hire someone. And that was the first stepping stone of kind of breaking free and having a little bit of that freedom. And I just feel like there's so many, especially contractors or tradesmen, blue collar workers, whatever you want to call them, the guys on the tools that don't realize having that staff behind you, even part time, can free you of that. And then from
yeah,
there, they're like, they won't know how to like do what I do. And I'm like, well, we'll build you out an SOP for that. Someone calls, they want inquiry. This goes out with this document by this date. When the document's returned, they send it to you, you approve it, you can send out a calendar invite. Like there's a system to it. I'm like, they can't screw it up. They're like, well, I don't understand the process. I'm like, well, we build you the process. And
yeah.
that's kind of breaking that barrier of ignorance where you don't have to do everything. You don't have to wear all the hats. You don't have to stress yourself out. Like
Right.
there's steps towards it.
I'm in the tax space, right? We deal with a lot of small businesses. Both larger businesses, small to medium, I should say, but a lot of solopreneurs. And it sounds like that's a lot that you're helping is those contractors that are just the one man or one woman shop. And we see them when they're filing a tax return. And it looks like they've just got a job, right? And they can only grow to a certain level, right? Because as far as their bandwidth will allow them to go. So the need for this service, we see it every day in the tax business is um, people just don't know the difference between a job and a business. They think they got a business because they're filing a Schedule C or they got an LLC or whatever, but really, if it's just them, they got a job. And what you're doing is showing them how easy it is to add a couple little elements and really turn it into a thriving business. Your stress goes down, your productivity goes up, and your wealth expands, right? I mean, that's
That and honestly, it starts out as like almost I'd say it's a half passion project because I know the feeling. I know how, you know, horrible that feeling is going to bed stressed or, I still got 30 emails in and stuff. And like I said, like a lot of these contractors have become my friends. I've been in the same boots as some of these guys on the field, right? So like I feel like there's impact behind it. I feel like
yeah,
getting into this other business, I want to have more impact. And that might be just the personal growth thing or whatever it is, but I want to feel like when I serve someone now and I'm paid for it, I want to have like a long lasting effect. And we have that with contracting. We make people's homes, into their dream home or their house into a home or however you want to throw the tagline out. But I feel like this is almost like a personal connection, right?
yeah, you're helping the team, right? I mean, they're one of you, right? That's who you are.
Exactly,
And
right? And these guys started businesses and got on the tools because they wanted to work for themselves, but their vision's a paycheck, not the
right,
business, right?
right,
It's like, oh, I made this much this week. The business is doing well. I'm like, well, can you go away for a week and still make that money?
yeah. And it's crazy. And before we jumped on here, we were talking. There's some parallels between what we've got going on. You just named like you've got three different businesses that some are two are sort of related. The other one's kind of out
How does
there.
that feel? Yeah, just kind
Yeah,
of
it's
throw it into the mix. Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense though, and we'll get into more details about that. But we're similar, right? We uh, being a CPA, I worked for a CPA for years and thought, okay, I want to go out on my own. So I got into the franchise system. I grew that franchise system, multiple stores, and I partnered with another guy that was in that system as well. And we had brick and mortar retail tax offices. Then kind of transition, we're more and more helping small businesses from their accounting, more controller, CFO, tax planning side of things, rather than just the preparation. And the time capacity and the availability of your time to handle all three of those. How you built up your contracting business, right? You've got everything ironed out, smoothed out there. You got your ops in place. Everything's efficient. You got a team. So it's not all about you anymore. But then you start something else and then you're in something else. How have you taken the lessons learned from your first couple years in contracting to when you started the second business to when you got into this consulting? What lessons have you taken and how have you been able to apply them to making this kind of a smoother transition?
First off is delegate. Now, it's not a matter of what I learned is not a matter of me not wanting to do it. It's a matter of someone will actually get it done and get it done properly. I'm not gonna give myself a task and allocate half an hour to do it when really it should take an hour. So things like the product that we're manufacturing, it's like right away. We have a friend who does a little bit of media management, like social media management. She's trying to get off the ground. I'm like, listen, we're not launched yet. Product's not in place. We're looking to bring on a social media like marketing team. But in the meantime, just to keep the active account and the account kind of fresh and put the brand out there, we can pay you a couple $100 a month and you can just make some content for 30 days. She's like, great, yeah, no problem. Things like packaging and shipping. My wife's also a partner in the product. I'm like, you know what? You take care of packaging and shipping, legal, business aspect of it, and all that stuff. I'll take care of that. And the other partner is more the visionary. We're like, you're going to take care of the visionary part of it, create the crowdfunding campaign. You start that. We want it launched by May 1st. You deal with, the graphic designer on that part of it. And it's like, before I felt like I wore all the hats and like shared it with people, and now it's just kind of I don't even touch it. It's like that was your job,
Yeah.
and I think that is a great lesson in business where you delegate a job. You genuinely need to step back, and sometimes you're going to eat it, and it's going to be a mistake that's going to suck, but you can hold a lot more accountability that way. I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, it
Because
makes dude, I'm living it right now. And just to kind of echo what you were saying about getting a team beneath you. Believe me, I'm a CPA. I like to control the environment. I really do. And I think that's a stereotypical CPA, right? And
yeah,
as the accountant, you like control, especially the finances and everything. But it related to all areas of business. When I left the CPA firm, I was a CPA. I was doing accounting type work. I left. I had no clue what business was. I thought I did, right? Because I deal with businesses every day. And it took me several years, really. I wish I would have done it in two, like you recognized, but it took me several years to really start delegating and finding the right people and then offloading that. When that happened, I was able to expand and grow, and it's so rewarding. Now we're working through additional challenges. We're similar to you in your business consulting and consultation group. You're building it, and also your invention is growing. That you're delegating more, and you're kind of walking away from it to a certain extent. You just have oversight. You know what buttons need to be punched, right? But you're not
yeah.
doing all the punching. And we're going through that right now. We need to expand our team. We need to hire a few people. We need there's a lot of things going on, and I'm getting better. Here's the high level stuff that we need, right? You are in charge of this project. You're in charge of this project, and then we meet and communicate whenever needed on that. But we talk about it at least once a week. Where are we at? What are our wins? What our GSDs? Our business coach from last year called GSDs. Get shit done every week, right? And we're talking about those regularly. So, and it's very rewarding, right? When you have the right people that you can delegate to, and you see them executing at a high level, and you're like, why didn't I do this sooner? It's not like it's rocket science. It's just hard to do, right?
But let me feed off that because I feel like it works both ways with being satisfied that when you delegate, something's getting done. I find it also satisfying when you delegate and it doesn't get done. I find if you jump all in with delegating something and giving full responsibility to someone and they don't get it within reason, like if you're going to throw someone the whole company and say run the company and they've only been there for 2 weeks, that's not reasonable, right? But if you bring someone on that does, for instance, you know, accounting and it's like, okay, you got a background in accounting, yes. Can you handle this? Yes. You understand what you have to do? Yes. And they don't get it done by being able to execute that and assess that quickly is also satisfying. Knowing if they can't fulfill that role, you can move
Yeah.
on to the next one. And I'm not saying you should fire everyone that comes in. It's not pleasing to have to fire someone, but I
Right.
feel like knowing off the hop instead of hindsight is good as a business owner when you begin to delegate. And it works in your favor when you find out not only do they fit the role and it's getting done, it also works in your favor when they don't fit the role
Right.
and it's not getting done because now you know where you have a weak link, you know where you have a hole, you know where you have an issue, where you need attention. Sometimes as the owner, you might have to step into that role to fulfill that to make sure you're giving them the right job description, giving them the right SOP because you got to assess that too. Where if someone can't
Yeah.
fulfill something, you have to look at what you provided them as the owner and say, did I set them up properly though? Because I find
No,
that's a lot of things with owners like construction. I'm sure you knew over the past few years of COVID and everything, it was like labor shortage, labor shortage, labor shortage. Oh, are you a good employer? I guarantee out of all those guys that are crying about labor shortages, like 70% of them probably weren't good employers. They throw them on
right.
the field and say, well, they're not keeping with my guys that have been here 7 years. Well, no, they're not going to.
Yeah. No, I mean that spot on. I'm glad you mentioned that because when you delegate and you don't, maybe they fail to meet the expectation. You have to do a few things, right? One, you try not to react right away and cause a bad scene, right? Like sometimes owners can do, especially in a stressful environment. But you pull back and say, was it their fault or was it my fault?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, and I'll tell you recently, as we're getting more into this business, and I'm trying to dial in the KPIs and a lot of the things that we're doing to support clients and build our team is your staff only knows a certain amount, right? They only know what they know. And so if you're not setting the expectation properly, that's on you. So when they fail, you say, okay, was that on me? Was that on them? Or was that on both of us and our failures to communicate? And I can give you an instance. We really started. I mean, we were doing it kind of, I would say, half-ass a little bit before, is our dialing in our hours per uh, job and different variables. Whether it's financial statement cleanup, quarterly, monthly bookkeeping, quarterly book. Our numbers were a little off in terms of our productivity, so we really started dialing that in. And when I started recognizing that we're spending more hours than we should, and I started inquiring as to why are we spending so well, I'm doing this. Well, and everybody says it now. I said, my goal is A to Z as fast as possible without uh, losing any of the data integrity, right? In between. And here's how you need to do that. And it was all about the system and process, man. It wasn't about the knowledge of the work they were doing. They were doing a bang up job. It was just about the process, A to Z in a straight line instead of, right. And, but that was all me because I expected them to know what I knew.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, ultimately it falls on the delegator or the owner, the boss, whoever's doing that. So great point. Great point. So where are you located at? Minus
Just north of Toronto, Ontario, up in Canada.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is I mean, are you seasonal? Does it fluctuate in the contracting business?
Completely.
Huh?
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really fluctuates. I don't think so much like, sure, the season kind of fluctuates a little bit, but I think the holidays affect it more. Like Christmas time, you're not going to have people that want to renovate their kitchen. That truthfully, right? Summertime, people tend to do their kitchen because they can go outside and barbecue and stuff. In the wintertime, they can't. So they have nowhere to
Mhm.
cook. So they're either ordering in or going out for dinner every other night. Like, so I do find the season kind of plays a role in it, but like back to school, end of the school year, summertime when they're going away for a few weeks, like those really affect kind of projects and everything. But now we're at the point where we kind of just roll with it. We're not that company to chase odd small jobs just to keep busy. It's kind of we know our clientele, we know our we know our niche, so we kind of stick with it, so it doesn't affect us hugely. We kind of embrace the slow periods. Like over Christmas, it has been a slow period, and what we kind of did is I put my head into the business solutions company. I put my head into the other company. Like I find when you have the entrepreneurial mindset, you kind of
Mhm.
change it up. Now it works. It's
Yeah.
starting to pick up now. The solution company's live. The pet products live. Well, it's in manufacturing, so it's kind of the waiting game now. And I go out and I start 75 hard. So it's one of those
Awesome.
like,
I forgot about that, man.
but it's
We
like
got
one of those like we were on a walk and I turned to my wife, I'm gonna do 75 hard tomorrow. She goes, tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, why not?
yeah.
Like, let's jump into it. Like it's that
That's
much.
awesome, man. Have you done it before?
I did a modified version before. So I did a 90-minute workout and I what else did I do? 90-minute workout. I had a loose diet kind of thing, but no alcohol. I tried to stick to only water. Um, I didn't go back day one. I think I missed out of the whole time, like 4 days at the gym, but it was kind of just a change my lifestyle kind of thing. It wasn't a committed
Yeah.
set to the stone thing, but I find it still kind of changed my habits, changed my mentality. Like this time I'm on day 9 or 10 right now, and it's like I haven't even had an urge to blip. I think the hardest part is remembering to take the progress pic. That's the hardest part. Like,
Tell you what, man, I was on like day 27. This was, I think it was first part of January, mid-January. I've always kind of gone through cycles. I've done 75 hard a few different times, and I typically do it once a year. It's a mental reset. It's not a
yep,
physical thing. It's a mental reset.
yep,
Uh, but I started it, and I didn't read. It was odd. I worked from home one day because my wife, she had some neck and back problems, and she was really in pain, waiting to have surgery. And so I came home and I'm working from home and taking care of her and doing things. And the next morning I wake up at 4:30 to get up and go do my workout Sunday morning, go out and have some coffee and then go out for a walk. And I'm like, I didn't read last night.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. So I tell you what, it's a game changer. I've done modified and everything, but really sticking to it for 75 days. If you can be hard and fast on all of those core things that you have to do for 75 days, it's a game changer. I'd recommend anybody do it. And it's more of a mental thing than a physical thing.
Yeah, and I find a lot of it's decision making. Like for instance, lot yesterday, came home in the morning just between the gym and my first site meet, and I had an hour and 15. Walked in the door. I told my wife, I'm gonna go for my walk now. She goes, okay, I'll come with you.
Yeah.
Again, nice part about being a business owner is you can do that. And we had my daughter's banquet last night for her cheerleading team. We thought it was like a in, grab some awards, out 5 to maybe 6:37. We were there till 9 o'clock. And
Yeah.
initially I was gonna go after
Right.
the event. So it's like that decision making where it's like, if I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it kind of thing. That's where I'm finding is really helped me get along with it. It's kind of like a few
Yeah.
days ago was like, woke up Sunday morning, okay, I'll kind of take my time. I'll enjoy my gym workout today. It's not going to be a rush or a time thing. Like, I'm going to get my 10 pages in now. Next
Right.
thing I know, like the day went crazy. And I'm like, I would not have had time to read those 10. Okay, I could have fit in 10 pages, but the way the day goes, it's kind of, I could have easily forgot.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just that decision making too in the mental game. Totally agree with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it forces discipline and you become um, very focused on your time management and how valuable each minute is in every aspect, right? I mean, and since the first time I did it was in 2019, done it a few other times since then. I've done a modified version of that almost, I would say, at least 340 days a year, every year, where I'm at least working out. I might miss a workout 20 days a year, maybe.
Yeah.
The diet's where I kind of struggle, but it's all about the value of every minute and value of your time. And you can ask my team, even here, it's sense of urgency. It's
Yeah.
what we can do today. Let's get done right now because tomorrow has something else in store for us.
Yeah.
Same with my family. Hey, let's just not talk about it. Let's do it. Let's do it now. Or we're not going to do it. And it's kind of changed my whole mindset. So good deal. What, what's next for you, man? I mean, you continue to grow, fitness, family, faith.
Honestly, right now, family's a big thing for me. I'm really enjoying, I guess, the season life we're in with like my son, he's 15, my daughter's 12. Well, he'll be 15 in a few months. So it's that nice teenager stage where you can have an adult conversation with them. Me and my daughter will go out for like a coffee date or something like that to Starbucks and grab some like, juice quenchers or something like that. And we get to chit chat. She tells me about school, or me and my son can actually have like a grown up conversation. He has a girlfriend, so like she'll come over for dinner, and it's like that. It's a different season in life. Like I see my friends with their like 3 and 5 year olds running around like crazy, and it's like I appreciate those ages, but it's kind of like now I feel good. Like me and my wife will go on a date night, for instance, and we don't have to worry about a babysitter or anything like that. Or it sounds petty, but sometimes we're even at the point where it's like, what? We're gonna go for dinner, you guys just order skip the dishes, and we just give them the app and let them log in, and they order themselves dinner, have some friends over, they hang out, watch movies. Me and my wife go out on a date. So that's been a big thing for me. And honestly, I just like making my time intentional. Like that's a big thing for me. Like I love having a schedule. I love having things planned. I love when I'm working on something, I'm working on something all in. I think that's why the three businesses kind of do me well because I am a busy bee. I do have ADHD, like actually diagnosed ADHD. I have, which I've never used as like an excuse or anything, but it is harder to dial in. So if I don't be intentional with it, I can go squirrely. Like I'm that 300
Yeah.
tabs open kind of guy because I see a keyword in an email. I'm like, oh yeah, that 6 months ago, I should look into that. Like it's right. Like,
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. No,
yeah,
that's awesome. Well, I tell you what, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I know your wealth of knowledge to entrepreneurs, especially in the construction and renovation space and the trade skills and helping them along the way, kind of avoid maybe some of the hard knocks that you took as you were growing, and avoid some of that, but ultimately be more successful, not just successful at business, but successful in life with their families and whatever. Because, we can work for money, but if that's all we're working for, it's not worth it in the end. It's to provide for our families, buy us time, freedom, that sort of thing. So I know you are a wealth of knowledge in that area. How can uh, our listeners, contractors that are interested in maybe learning more about that side of your business and how you can help them become better businesses and better businessmen and women, how do they find you?
You can, if you're a contractor, blue collar, you can reach out to us on Instagram, AC Custom Rental Inc., or even me directly, AJ Cappuccitti. We do have the business solutions website up. That's criterionbs.com, or on social media. Like, you just follow me
Yeah.
personally. I'm always promoting all the businesses. I'm always answering everything directly. I try to be prompt on it. I love getting on calls, love meeting people. I love socializing, right? So it's kind of,
Yeah.
even if you just want to chop it up with me, just reach out to me, let me know. Sure, we'll set something up or we'll get something going for sure. So, Brad,
Yeah.
honestly,
Good.
Brad, like, I appreciate being on, man. Congrats on all your stuff too, your umbrella and then all the linear kind of raindrops below it. I know you got a lot going on over there. So,
Yeah, it's fun, and I enjoy these conversations are great. And I know when I started in business, I didn't have access to podcasts and all this stuff. I mean, it might show my age, but I think my gray and my beard shows my age too. Uh, yeah, I mean, this has been a great, and I enjoy talking about business because I know when our listeners hear this, it's going to benefit them. So great having you on. As always, appreciate you guys tuning in to the KB article, where we're always trying to provide some resources or knowledge that may help you grow and increase your financial well being. Until next time.